Hey guys, thanks so much for checking out my show. I really appreciate it. Please click to subscribe. I'm also on Apple and Spotify and iHeart if you'd rather listen. You can check out those channels also. This episode, I'm getting into just this terrible, terrible story out of New Jersey. These two young girls mowed down, run over. It was not an accident, according to prosecutors. And the teenager who's now behind bars, who they say is responsible, allegedly, one of the girls' parents had been sounding the alarm about this guy. There had been warnings, there had been stalking allegations. I'm going to get into all of it in this episode of Brian Enton Investigates. Hey guys, so there is a sad and just wild case playing out right now in a small New Jersey town. It's terrible. It's terrible. Two teenage girls, they're dead. A teenage boy is now facing murder charges. And I wanted to bring you the latest here because I've been trying to go over everything, and there are still just so many questions about whether or not their deaths could have been preventable. There are parts of the story that are absolutely just enraging. There were seemingly so many signs of trouble from the young man accused of the crime. And some of you guys have messaged me about this. We covered it a little bit on News Nation. But to catch those of you up who haven't been following, I want to catch you guys up to speed. This happened a week ago Monday. Maria Niotis and Isabella Salas were just doing what any 17-year-old girls might be doing on a warm summer night. They were riding their e-bikes to a local ice cream shop. But tragically, they never made it. A Jeep reported to be going about 70 miles an hour. That's 45 miles per hour over the speed limit. Mowed those two girls down before they ever got there. The Jeep was going so fast that one of the bikes would end up literally stuck to the front of the Jeep. And what seemed at first like a horrific hit and run, it would lead to 2 counts of first-degree murder. Prosecutors say this was no accident. It was first-degree murder. And almost as soon as the name of the 17-year-old driver, and his name, by the way, is Vincent Battiloro, but as soon as it started to spread around town, Battiloro had been detained and questioned the day of the crime. What's interesting, he was then released until his arrest the next day, quote, pending further investigation. That's what police said at the time. Now, I want to be clear about something. The prosecutors haven't officially released the boy's name because of his age, but a state court database does show that Battiloro received 14 traffic summonses for a crash in Cranford last week in New Jersey. Stuff like speeding, reckless driving, driving without a license, and then also on top of that, the New York Times also confirmed that he was the driver through 2 sources of their own. So, all indications are, not all indications, I mean, he is the driver based on all the sources that we have, and also the New York Times and what was in the database. Now, according to Maria's mom, Battiloro had been fixated on Maria for months, and this is where things get interesting and also enraging. She told a friend that she had called the police multiple times. She called the police multiple times on Battiloro because the boy would park in front of their house and then would not leave. And 2 of Maria's friends told the New York Times that Battiloro had harassed Maria in the past and taunted her and her mom online, even sent pizzas to their house as a prank. I'm going to tell you more about that in a second, and wait until you see some of his YouTube videos. Battiloro's online taunts are made worse by the fact that he's got a pretty big following, tens of thousands of followers who would watch him typically stream his video games. Again, a lot of this was on YouTube, and what really, really blows my mind in this case is that Battiloro chose to live stream to those fans the very next night after the crash occurred. He was live streaming. He talked about what he called a hit-and-run crash nearby as he reacted to comments calling him a killer. Listen to this.
And I'm not going to talk much about it, but in a neighboring town, unfortunately, 2 girls were killed in a hit and run crash. Now, there has been a lot of misinformation going on over the internet. But I will say this. I wish my sincerest condolences to those 2 girls lost in that tragic accident. Okay? It is an absolute unfortunate situation, and there's more to the story that you're not getting. But when the time comes, I will explain it in greater detail. I'm not authorized to talk about the whole thing. I'm not going to give you any more information, but I will say this, okay? Making threats against my family will not be tolerated. My cousin has received hateful messages over social media about this whole spiel, and he's had to unfollow me on everything because of this whole drama. Why are you guys getting him involved? It's one thing, okay, if you hate me, you hate me. If you don't, you don't. You're opening up Pandora's box, getting family involved. And that just does not sit right with me. So I figured I'd make a statement about what happened. And I want to address something else, okay? Because this is a very serious incident that happened. And I really don't even know if I should be streaming this right now, but I have built a great following on TikTok with 39,000 followers that I have grown since 2020. And I want to thank each and every single one of y'all. I love you all to absolute death. And regardless of what happens, if you don't see me streaming for a little bit, you'll understand why. But this will be in the hands of Jesus. Everything will be okay. I will get this sorted out.
So obviously, I mean, the videos, and you're going to see there's even more, they get really, really disturbing. It's weird that he's so cool, calm, and collected, considering, according to prosecutors, he had just run down 2 girls the day before. It's bizarre. It is creepy. But even more bizarre is he goes on to thank all of his followers and say that everyone should be nicer to each other. Listen to this.
And I plan to keep continuing playing co-op with my best friend, Evan. He has stuck by me through the whole side, and I want to thank him for that. Without my loyal friend playing co-op with me, I wouldn't be streaming YouTube right now. So there's more to the story, but again, I'm not going to be authorized to comment on it, and I want to thank each and every single one of you guys that have stuck by me through this whole thing. And I want to address one more thing, okay? I really think there needs to be more done to address mental health in this state. Because, you know, I don't even know how to explain this, dude. I've been bullied, ridiculed, and stuff over false allegations, okay? Over this whole thing about things that have happened in the past. There's more to this story. It'll come out in the future, okay? And I'm going to let you all know this right now. I don't plan to go anywhere anytime soon regarding streaming. But again, if I do end up taking a hiatus, I'm telling you guys why. So, I really think New Jersey needs to do a better job addressing this mental health crisis because I've been through way too much. I'm a nice kid. I'm 17 years old with a good family by my side. And these allegations that have been ruining everything is a shame. But again, I'm going to leave it at that. I really think you all should be a lot nicer to each other. If anything happens, I'm going to give you all some advice. All right? If you get bullied and ridiculed in school about, stuff that people hate you, I would tell your counselor immediately. And, before the gets out of hand, you got to address all these things, because I'll tell you what, the amount of bullying that I've been put through in the past has been absolutely absurd.
There seemed to be a lot of signs that Battiloro was a bully to his alleged victim. NJ.com was also able to look at some of the other live streams that he has posted. Some of these live streams are now from months ago. It's all now been taken down, by the way, but they saw it before it was taken down, and according to NJ.com, back in May, he talked about being suspended from school based on what he called false allegations that he distributed child sex abuse material. But the suspension was brought back up again in a live stream. That one was on September 23rd, just a week before the murders. He was blaming Maria and her mother for the suspension, and that is also when he sent those pizzas that I mentioned, which he also talks about in the live stream. I want to play that part for you.
So we're going to try to do this. I don't know if it'll work. The place closes at 12. But here's what we're going to do. I think Maria's hungry. I think we're going to send her a pizza. Cheer her up. So, y'all know I have a vengeance against this girl for accusing me of sending. I'm going to call a pizza to her house, and here's how I'm going to do it. So I told you all that I bought the brand new iPhone 17 Pro Max the other day, and I'm going to be using this as my main phone now. Better camera to do vlogs on. But in the process, I still have my iPhone 16 Pro Max. And here's what I'm going to be doing. I'm going to be converting this as a burner phone. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to call Domino's, and I'm going to have a pizza sent to her house, and I'm going to tell the guy the driver will be paid cash at the door. Yes, cash at the door. So, Fula, or my dad wants to call you Falula, don't fool me, stupid name. You should not have accused me of sending porn, and you should not have dragged me into creating a police report. So, Fula, you made a bad decision making a bad name of myself. You made a bad decision having this girl return to that school without me being there. I think you're hungry. We're gonna send you a pizza. Okay? I'm getting this set up. I'm gonna use my burner, and we're gonna call in a pizza. I'm gonna use a VPN so I don't get tracked.
Order like 5.
You sure?
Huh?
I don't know if I want to order 5. That would raise some suspicion.
So there's been some reporting that Maria's family and friends have said that a restraining order had been filed against Battiloro, but we haven't been able to independently verify that. So there is a lot of reporting out there, though, but true or not, it sounds like Battiloro had a reputation anyway. The question, why was Vincent free? Why was Vincent free? It's begun to pop up in Facebook groups. You've got true crime sleuths. They've been digging into the whole thing. The more you dig, it is pretty enraging. And some of them are wondering if it's because of Battiloro's connection to another police officer in a nearby town. His uncle, his name is Christopher Battiloro. He's the police chief of Westfield. And Chief Christopher Battiloro strongly pushed back on the notion in a lengthy Facebook on the town of Westfield's police department page. So he actually wrote this on the town Facebook page. He said, while social media has made it known that the accused is related to me. He is not my son and not a member of my immediate family. I want to be clear, as loud and as firm as possible, that in no way do my wife, children, or I condone, defend, or excuse the actions that caused this terrible and tragic loss of life. And the chief goes on to explain his silence initially was so that the Cranford Police Department could conduct their investigation without interference, but said now that charges have been filed, he wanted to speak out. And he continued to write, unequivocally deny the actions of the accused, and like you, I demand that he face the consequences of his alleged actions in a court of law. As a law enforcement officer, I maintain full faith and confidence in our criminal justice system, and that it will ensure he is held fully accountable. I too pray for these families. I too demand full accountability and justice. As a result of this tragic incident, I lost a neighbor, a beautiful, charismatic young lady named Isabella Salas, who I have watched grow up since the day I moved to Cranford. My neighborhood feels violated, and we are grieving. I am writing this to let you know that I stand with you, my Cranford friends and neighbors, and that I grieve with you. There is no doubt this crime has shocked and affected the whole community, no matter who you are. Just this weekend, the family of Isabella Salas laid that 17-year-old girl to rest. Our roughly 500 mourners turned out to the closed casket wake, waiting 2 hours to get inside the funeral to pay their respects. It was just a tragic scene when you think about just these young innocent women and exactly what happened. One of the big questions now, though, is, was all of this preventable? What can be done when a 17-year-old is making threats online? Should police have done more? Should the school have done more? There was obviously, reportedly, cries for help, and the situation ended just tragically. I'm joined by Steve Moore, former FBI agent. First of all, Steve, something about watching those videos of Vincent Battiloro, it's so disturbing.
It's infuriating. I have daughters. I have to turn it off every once in a while to just relax and just go back to it and just realize that this is. I can remember when I was interviewing this guy who had shot a bunch of people, and he kept saying things that were horrible. I said, "You ended up shooting children. You thought they were going to be adults, and you shot them, and they were children. How's that? Doesn't that change things when you see children?" He goes, "Yeah, you got to aim lower." And at that point, I wanted to come across the table and strangle him. But I knew that if I just kept letting him talk, he would do that for me. And so as I was listening to Battiloro talk on these videos, I was thinking to myself, if I was the detective in charge, I wouldn't have charged him for another week or two. I would want him to talk about this. I would go interview him and say, "Tell me what what about this, is really bothering you? Why do you think they're after you?" And I would wait for him to put that on camera. I would have waited another week before I arrested him, because the target of his anger and his murder was gone. And the thought of that he was going to pick up another obsession and kill within a week, I I don't believe that. So I think he was fairly safe to leave in the general population of humankind for at least another week, and hope he made videos every damn day.
It seemed like the sense I got watching the video was like he thought he was smarter than everybody else, like he could talk himself out of anything.
Those are my favorites. Those guys, they take themselves down before the trial even starts. I love guys like that. I'm reminded of Wilford Brimley in the movie with Paul Newman and Sally Field, where he said, "You seem pretty smart. Be careful, though, because I'm kind of smart myself." And a lot of these guys don't really understand that, as smart as they think they are, there's some pretty smart people about to lock you behind steel bars for the rest of your life.
How important will those videos be for the investigation?
Oh, those videos are going to be wonderful. Those videos are going to be the star witness. He's going to, because you say, well, you can't testify against yourself. He's already done that. Anything you say can and will be used against you in a court of law. He has just hung himself. And so these videos are going to be played every day of the trial. If I was a defense attorney, I would probably just walk into their room with a kid and said, okay, here's the deal. You know, how can we mitigate your future here? If you want a future, albeit behind bars, we better try to make a plea bargain. But if I had those videos, I wouldn't plea bargain.
He first was brought in for questioning and then they let him go the first time. I wonder if that goes back to your theory of let's just see what else he'll say. Let's see if he goes back on YouTube, that kind of thing.
That's very possible, and that's why I said a minute ago that I would want to go re-interrogate him, get more information, and in the meantime, maybe that interrogation might irritate him or unnerve him a little bit more, because he seems to be the kind of person who, when they get unnerved, when they get angry, when they feel the need to respond, they do, and every word he spoke was a nail, and I would have loved to have seen him keep driving those nails.
There were stalking allegations. There was a restraining order, I believe. Um, I'm sure the girl's parents are wondering this. Like, should police have done more before all of
Yes.
this happened?
If they could have, they should have. Restraining orders, yeah, restraining orders restrain lawful people. Generally, people who need restraining orders against them aren't lawful. Um, I feel like we have a problem in society that we handcuff the police to in protecting people like these two girls against uh, maniacs like this guy appears to be. So yeah, I think again that could be part of a civil trial saying, look what happened because you didn't do this, this, or this. I don't know the circumstances of whether they had opportunity to do anything and didn't, or whether there was just really no way they could have changed the situation. But with him in front of their house, I mean, if that happened after the restraining order, that person should be in custody. So how about this? I have some extremely sharp questions I would be asking.
Yeah, because neighbors said they saw him outside the house.
Everybody in town knew that apparently, who knew these girls, knew that he was a danger to them. And that means the police knew. So we've got the right to ask some questions.
And allegedly to run someone over, it's just such a, I don't know, it's a really just terrible, yeah, personal, I guess. Yeah, I mean, it just, you shoot someone, you don't look, you go away, but like to really run them over is just awful.
Yeah, yeah. He wanted to feel what that felt like. And I've seen people say, "Well, how are you going to prove it was not just an accident?" Because witnesses say he'd been stalking them in that car, and while they're out on the road, he just happens to be where they are, and he just happens to look away from the road long enough to kill them, and then scream away. Um, this is over and done with before they even walk in. It's just a matter of how bad is it going to be for him.
People watching this, they're like, well, what can we do to protect our kids? You get the restraining order, you try to do the right thing. What's your advice for them?
I For a while after I retired from the bureau, I did some private investigative work and uh, investigation and other things. And one of well, several of the clients had problems with threats to family members. And sometimes, if you go and door knock that person who is becoming a threat, and they know that I'm not a cop, um, I'm not bound by what the police do. I'm bound only by law. And if I find you are threatening her, I can defend her. And and frequently those kind of interactions, if you keep them legal and you don't make threats, they can actually change somebody's mind about getting away with things, if that helps. Other than that, you need to keep a strong eye out for this person, and you need possibly to get your own lawyer. Members of my immediate family have been victims of stalking and damage as a result of that. And there comes a point when you need to get an attorney involved so that they know that this is not just going to be tolerated, that we may need more than a restraining order. We may need an investigator to give the police enough evidence for the crime. I mean, you could follow this person and say he was here in violation of the restraining order. Why have private investigators, especially ex-law enforcement, we can write a pretty good prosecutive report and hand it to the DA and say, go get him. This is the report. You can prosecute him on this. And then you also make very strong points with them that if something happens to this person, after we've warned you about everything that's going on, we're going to be coming and talking to you about how you can make this right.